Hi everyone, welcome back to Genie's channel. Today I wanted to recommend a book to all of you. It's called The Forever Dog by Rodney Habib and Dr. Shaw Becker. I got this book new from thebookoutlet.com with their signature overstock mark. It is a hard copy that's over 400 pages long. However, it is fairly easy to read. It is a great book that educates you to help your canine companion live younger, healthier, and longer. I've already listened to the audio version of this. However, I still like to keep a physical copy with me to go back and reference it. In short, the secret formula is eat less, eat fresh, and move more. I really wanted to focus on the nutrition and food portion of this book because it also applies to us humans as well. After all, science of aging is the same for everyone. Here I am marking some important information and tips after I listened to the audiobook. Yes, it is a lot of information, but I recommend taking small steps, do your own research as well, and see what are some of the things you're already doing right and some of the things that you could change. Those two writers went on the TV show and talked about their book. Another interesting factor that affects the dog's life, and I have never really paid attention to, is stress. Stress including like environmental, emotional, of course, but also chemical stress, specifically around your household chemicals. For instance, the regular household cleaning product, as well as like scented candles. All those can slowly building up in the system of your pet. Here comes the first part that I wanted to share with all of you about food. That is, fresher is always better. What considered as fresh food? Here in the book, it tells us that homemade, commercial raw, gently cooked, freeze-dried, and dehydrated real dog foods are all considered as fresh food. Unfortunately, kibble, as well as canned food, are not. I do want to add that for homemade food, it needs to be nutritional balanced. And here, look at the quick tip for the Forever Dog formula. Diet and nutrition is marked as the first place. After that is optimal movement, genetics, as well as stress and environment. So in short, again, the Forever Dog's formula becomes food, plus exercise, plus their DNA, and last but not least, the environment they're in. At the end of each section, there is always a takeaway that helps you remember and understand the key points of the section. Here I highlighted the part about a simple way to let you know about whether your dog's pet food is counted as healthy or not. Basically, the less processed the food, the better. Dog's food is such an important part of their health, and I am so proud to say that Genie is now on a 100% no kibble diet, and out of that, pretty much 90% of it are freeze-dried food. Here they raised the point about the money you spend on dog food directly correlates with the quality of the food and your dog's health, which I actually agree. Genie's average dog food cost in a month is about $300 to $500. She actually eats better than me. Everybody knows that. I know not everyone can afford no kibble diet, but I do hope that if you can, please change at least one of your dog's meal to freeze-dried or gently cooked, or commercial raw. But really, even raw food, I just can't really bring back raw food and cut them myself, and that's why I prefer the freeze-dried version. In the next section, I marked the importance of dog training that correlates with your dog's health. Overall, I still prefer a positive reinforcement training method. This is the part that I talked about earlier about your household regular items that can potentially pollute your dog's health. Just keep a handy list of it and go back to it whenever you wanted to check. An interesting thing they point out was actually tap water. I am guilty of giving Genie tap water, and I am thinking I should probably change it to filtered water in the future. Plastic is also a common harmful items to dogs, which are very common to find in dog toys, especially in a squeaker. And here they recommend replacing the squeaker toys with your homemade ones. This section, they talked a lot about how food affects dog health, as well as going into details about the science into longevity food. This section is about veggies. I probably need to go back to this section and read them in details again and keep a list of the dog superfoods. Just quickly flipping through the pages, you can see again, this is a lot of information. Don't get overwhelmed again, but do keep a list in check. And here are some of the powerful proteins, including like organ meats and sardines. This is a section that I am not so sure and might be needing more research on myself. It's a compelling case for once-a-day feeding. Currently, Genie is on a twice-per-day diet, but sometimes she would procrastinate or not eating her breakfast, so I guess technically she sometimes is already on a once-per-day diet. Now going back to the original formula, you might remember the second most important thing about dog's health is optimal movement, their exercise. So this section is all dedicated to that. Like I marked here, dogs should get a minimum 3 times a week, 20 minutes of heart pumping exercise. And Genie definitely gets way more than that. In this section, they talked about minimizing environmental stress and chemical load to dogs again. And here, filter your dog's water also made the list. I need to make myself a mental note to do that. I think so far this is the only key point that they mentioned in the book that I hadn't been doing. Oh, one last thing about the exercise here. Brain exercise is as important as physical exercise. So when your dog is having a sniff session, don't yank your leash. Let them do that. So far, we've talked about the 3 out of the 4 points in this dog formula. And the last one is actually DNA genetic testing. I have videos about that previously if you wanted to check them out. I really wish every dog owner can follow some of the good advice in this book and help your dog live a happy and healthy life.